Okay, so let's get started with some academic tips. I know that this year is probably going to be a little bit challenging considering we're doing all of our classes online. So these are the study tips and tips for academic achievement that we've come up with that we think will help you best. So the first one is to make your own space. Whether or not you are living on campus or you're at home, it's really important to try to make your own space to work. It's really important to have a different spot where you're working and where you're relaxing and doing things for fun. Um, so if you have something like a desk or just a table where you know you can go to do your homework, we highly recommend that. And going along with kind of like making your own space is to put in your headphones. If you're just doing your homework or classwork or something like that, putting in your headphones, listening to music, things like that will help to sort of give you your own space when you're doing your work and sort of separate you from things going on in your environment. Another thing that we suggest is to find a friend in the class and make a group chat with them or start an email chain or something like that. What is probably going to happen in some of your classes is that you'll be put into breakout rooms on Zoom. And so what we recommend is trying to make friends with those people, exchanging contact with them. Just your Santa Cruz email works. So that way you have somebody to reach out to if you ever have any questions about homework, classwork, if you are meeting for class, things like that. We highly recommend that. And then going along with that, don't be afraid to ask questions both to the friends that you've made in your classes and to your professor. It's really likely that if you have a question about the schematics of something or you just don't understand the homework, it's really, really likely that you are not the only person. So don't be afraid to ask questions about things like that and get it cleared up for yourself and for the other people in your class. Another tip is to create a schedule for homework and downtime. If your classes are asynchronous, I highly recommend doing your classwork during the time when your class was supposed to take place. So if you have a class on your schedule from 1:30 to 3:30, I recommend getting your classwork done during that time, even if you don't actually have to attend the lecture on Zoom. That way, you sort of create a nice flow for yourself and you can kind of prevent falling behind. And of course, this is something that I'm sure has been said before, but creating flashcards on something like Quizlet or even just creating them by hand is going to help you a lot when you're studying, a lot more than you think it would. And then in terms of academic achievement, our top tips are to meet with your professors and your advisors. Meeting with your professors during office hours is a really easy way to get to know your professor. It will definitely make you more comfortable with them. It'll allow you to ask questions. And it's just a very beneficial thing for students to do. Meeting with your academic advisors as well will help you plan for the future, what classes you want to take, and if you're on the right track. Another thing we recommend is to join extra discussion sections like MSI tutoring. Those are going to be smaller groups of people in your classes, and you will be able to do things like homework together. You'll be able to ask questions and get a little bit of extra practice. So if that's something that you're interested in, we highly recommend doing that. So that's all for academics. If you guys have any questions, just wait until the end and I will pass it over to Sarah.
Thanks so much, Grace. So I'm going to talk about campus involvement. For those of you that have access to this presentation afterwards, all of these are hyperlinks so that you can just dig right into the resources. The ER system is for both virtual and on-campus jobs. It's how we all were able to apply for this job. And it's a great resource because, you know, as some of us are on campus and some are not, it can be difficult to know. But it's a great thing. I totally suggest checking like every week. It seems like there's always something new posted. And while we are either at home or on a different schedule, FitLife, which is part of OPERS, our gym, is hosting free virtual fitness classes. When we are back on campus, they typically hold like 4 to 5 classes a day in person, but this is even better. No matter what your class schedule is, it seems like there's always a class open or available for you to jump in and do. And they offer a variety of things from like kickboxing to yoga to just anything you can think of. For Kresge specific, there's Kresge Parliament, which is a ton of fun. I'm a part of it. And it's just your local student government. And actually SUA, which is the Student Union Assembly, is like the university student government, is you get 2 Kresge representatives that go to the SUA. The first Kresge meeting is this Thursday, if you want to come join us on Zoom. And within student government, it's kind of like this melting pot, because there's student government, and then within that, there are like 10 other different positions you can hold. So it's a really great way to meet a bunch of new people. If you're a transfer student, I highly suggest going to STARS. STARS is the Transfer Resource Center. They have all sorts of advising. They have mixers. They have other events. It's great. So that's fantastic. Then there are internships. And I like, out of all the tips here, I highly suggest like looking up internships. I didn't know they were a thing, or like how to get involved with them when I first started at UCSC. So they're everywhere on campus. The Norris Center has some great ones. So does the Environmental Sciences program. And for the ENVS internships, like it really doesn't matter if you're a science person or not. They have a ton of really cool things you can get involved with. And then the hyperlink here is for the Career Center. So they have links to outside agencies like Handshake, which post general internships. And then there are also some offered by the school. So those are just like the best. And then, as you guys all probably have received emails about, Cornucopia is happening, and that's the showcase of like all the campus clubs that are going on at the moment. And you'd be surprised how involved you can be, even if it's just on Zoom. The Cornucopia, like the cross country club is holding like virtual running events, and you can check your miles against someone else. It's really great. And then there's also the Student Volunteer Center, which I'm the programs director for, and it's great. We're really hoping to get some more interns this quarter. Interns are happening throughout the year, so we take 3 to 4 each quarter. And then there are volunteer opportunities. And one of the really cool things we're doing right now is connecting with all the UC campuses. So it doesn't matter if you're in San Diego, LA, up by Berkeley, we'll be able to connect you with volunteer opportunities, both virtual and online, virtual and in person, no matter where you are. And then the resource centers are great. So if you are a part of a specific community, like Asian American, Filipino, whatever your cultural identity is, there's community-specific groups for you to reach out to. They're fantastic, and they do as well a ton of programs. So yeah, and this isn't an extensive list. There's so many ways to get involved on campus. You just have to like do an internet search, and they're all there for you.
All right, so now let's talk about self-care. So first of all, self-care is not just like pampering yourself every so often. It's taking the basic steps to make sure you're taking care of your body physically, mentally, and emotionally, which right now, doing everything on the internet, taking all of your classes online can be a really hard thing to do. You forget to do some of these things. So we're just here to remind you that these are some basic steps that you can do that'll help you to make sure that you're safe and you're healthy and you're taking care of yourself. So first, you need to drink lots of water. Just have like a cup next to your desk and drink water throughout the whole day. Make a sleep routine that you can follow. College students should be getting about 8 hours of sleep a night, which sounds like a lot, like, because you want to be doing like all-nighters and stuff, but don't. Make sure you're sleeping. It'll make getting your work done easier because you'll be able to focus more. Exercising every day for about 20 minutes or stretching is really good. It'll be a break from being on Zoom all day and doing classes and homework and everything, but it'll also make you feel better physically in your body and you'll be healthier. Eat 3 good meals a day with plenty of nutrients. Right now with COVID and everything, it's really easy to like get sick, and so eating meals with plenty of nutrients and drinking water and exercising and sleeping and stuff will make you healthier, make you stronger, and less likely to get sick. So right now, since everything's online, it's very easy to just keep working and working and working and working and not take any breaks and feel like you aren't doing as well as other people if you're not taking breaks, or I haven't gotten this done or whatever. But it's really important to take some breaks and take some time away from the screens. It sounds like a weird thing, but you can actually get like Zoom exhaustion from being on Zoom, being on your computer, on your phone, or whatever, all day. And so it's really important to take some breaks, to do something that doesn't involve screens, like reading a book or working out or something. And you can even buy like blue light glasses or something that'll help take the strain off of your eyes. It'll take away headaches and stuff like that. Cleaning a little bit every day can really help you a lot too. If you don't clean a little bit every day, messes will start to pile up, and then it'll be a big job for you to do later when you may not have as much time, near finals, midterms, things like that. If you clean a little bit in your space every day, it'll be clean, easier for you to focus, and it won't be something that'll take a long time to do later. Making time in your schedule to do something that you enjoy is really important. Right now, it's really easy to just keep working and feel like you're not being productive if you're not working all the time. So take some breaks, take an hour-long break, a 30-minute break, even like a 15-minute break to read a book, play some music, write in your journal, something like that. That'll really help you and be able to focus more. Telling yourself positive affirmations will help you keep you going. It sounds like it'd be really weird, like telling yourself, wow, you're doing such a good job today, but there isn't other people around you right now to be telling you those kinds of things. So telling them to yourself is very important, and it'll help keep you going, keep you focused. Starting your work ahead of time will reduce stress. If you work the day an assignment comes out and you start it and you start for 15 minutes or whatever, because you started it, you'll be more likely to keep working on it a little bit every day, and it won't pile up all at the end. So don't procrastinate. You'd rather get it done a few days beforehand than have it due in a few hours and you haven't started it yet. It'll reduce a lot of stress. And finally, keeping in touch with loved ones is very important right now. If you're at home, you may be living with your family or friends, or you may be on campus living with friends, but like contacting people that maybe you don't think to normally contact to make sure how they're doing will also help you. And just keeping in contact, you can do a Zoom call with all your friends from school or your friends from home or something, or calling your parents every day will help keep you more focused and will help you mentally and emotionally. And that's all that I have. Of course, there's a lot more other self-care tips that you can find online, but these are some basic ones that everybody should be able to do.
All right, the next one is campus services. So as you can see, we have many campus services that are still available, even though you may be working remotely from home. So the first category we have is finance. So that includes our financial aid office and our student business services. So they can assist you if you have any questions about your financial aid, your understanding of the My UCSC portal, which is where you'll get everything from your class schedule to your enrollment, to any messages they might send you on there. And then the next category we have is well-being. So first we have our health center and shop. So our health center is currently providing COVID testing for all students on or off campus. So if you ever want a COVID test, you can go, and I believe it's free for all students. They also offer flu shots, optometry. We have our pharmacy on campus, same day care, And then SHOP offers birth control, HIV tests, and more. The next one we have is CAPS, which is our counseling services. They offer crisis services, Let's Talk, which is just a drop-in, quick, like group session if you're not comfortable going long-term into counseling. That's an easy option to just go in and vent some things that may be on your mind. And then the next one we have is OPERS, which is their gym. Like Sarah was saying earlier, they're offering fitness classes in the fall, which is a great way to release all that stress that you may be having. And then the last category we have is our student support. So we have Title IX and CARE, which is the offices that assist those that are impacted by sexual violence, dating domestic violence, and gender-based harassment and discrimination. So if you ever experience that, please reach out to them. They're more than happy to help you and get you resources that you may need to assist you with that. And the next one we have is our Academic Resource Center, which is where EOP is located. So the Academic Resource Center has the learning support services, which includes MSI and ACE, which are small group tutoring sessions. It also has the undocumented student services, and EOP, which provides support to first-gen low-income and educationally disadvantaged students. I really recommend, if you have EOP, reaching out to them. They're a great resource. My second year, actually, I remember that my laptop broke in the middle of midterms week, and they were really helpful, and they loaned me a laptop, so that was really, really helpful. And then the next one we have is the DRC, which is our Disability Resource Center. So that one assists in providing students with equal opportunities regardless of disability. So say you need extra time on a final or a midterm or something like that, please reach out to the DRC and they'll be happy to help you with that. Even from something like you broke an arm or you broke a leg and you need a note taker for one of your classes, they can also help and assist you with that. The next one we have is ITS, which is their technology services. So on their website, they have links to all of your UCSC websites and portals that you may need. They can also help with troubleshooting for those on campus, say Res Wi-Fi isn't working. They can definitely help you out with that. And then Zoom and remote class help. ITS also provides subscriptions for students, such as Microsoft Office, Acrobat, which is PDFs. So they're really helpful with that. If you go on their website, they have a tutorial of how you can download all of those apps onto your machines and your computers. And then the last one we have is Select Support. So Select Support helps those experiencing housing, food, financial insecurities. Say they work with like the Select Support Pantry, the SUA Pantry, and all of that. So they really help with getting connected to other campus resources, whatever the student may need. And yeah, so if you have any questions about any of these offices or anything else, feel free to drop it in the chat box and we'll answer it after the presentation is over.
All right, so I have the financial tips. So first of all, the first most important thing that I would say that you should probably do is to create a budget for yourself. When I first started college, the first few weeks, I didn't have a budget for myself, and within a couple of weeks, all my money was gone. And I was like, ooh, what am I supposed to do? And then I had to call my parents and ask for money, and it wasn't cool. So creating a budget for yourself, it actually helped a lot because you know what you're going to buy and what you need, and you're not going to spend more than what you have planned. So the next tip I have is to spend less than what you earn / receive. So if you get money from financial aid, or if you have grants, or if you're working, whatever you earn or are getting, never spend more than that, because if you spend more, you're going to go into more debt, and that's not something that you're going to want in the future. Another thing is you should have an emergency fund. Save up money here and there and put it into an emergency fund, because you never know when you're going to need money for something that might come up, like say an emergency happens in your family and you need to go home, or you are missing a book or something, but you need money, so you can use that from your emergency fund. Also, limit your spending on unnecessary items. Like, say there's like a lot of people are, what's it called? When they go shopping online a lot and for stuff they don't really, I forgot what it's called. Anyways, don't go shopping for things that you don't really need. Also, you should start a savings account or just a form of saving. It doesn't have to necessarily be like a bank account. Maybe just envelopes where you keep money or something. And it doesn't matter how little amount you save, just a little bit here and there is good. Always keep track of your spending. I know now in the digital age, you have debit cards, so you're not really holding physical money. So spending $5 here, $2 there, $3 here, it doesn't sound like it's a lot, but after a while it adds up, and then you're short like $200 and you don't know where it went. So always keep track of that. When you go shopping, always look for cheaper alternatives. I know that it's a lot of people like to go for name brands, but a lot of the time there's no need for that. There's always cheaper alternatives, and they're usually just as good, if not better, than the big brands. I know a lot of places offer student discounts, like say you're going to the movies. Well, not anymore because of COVID, but there are places like stores. I know if you're on campus, Safeway does offer like a card that you can get for students that they give you discounts off every time that you purchase. So that's good there. There are places everywhere. Just look out for that. There's also like different coupons that you can use and stuff. And also, I know I'm talking about saving money, but at the end of the day, this is your life, and don't be afraid to treat yourself every now and then, but keep that like to a minimum, I would say. But don't be afraid to like actually go out and have a good time. And that will bring us to the question portion of our event.
Thank you so much to all of our OLs. Covered a lot of different topics. So if folks have any questions, feel free to utilize the chat and our OLs will be able to jump in with their answers.
I'm gonna go ahead and unshare my screen, but all the PowerPoint slides are available on the Google Calendar invite. So if you guys ever want to access them, it's all on there.
Jennifer asked if there's a Dollar Tree here, and here I think refers to Santa Cruz area. I'm not aware of one, but do any other folks know of one?
I don't believe there is one, but I think there's a, not like a Super Savers, but a grocery outlet that offers really cheap items.
Great, thank you, Sarah.
If I may add, for the Dollar Tree store, I know there isn't one in the Santa Cruz immediate area, but there is one in Capitola, and that's right opposite of the Capitola Mall. Oh, thank you for someone who just mentioned in Scotts Valley and Live Oak. To get to the Capitola Mall, I recommend taking one of, I think, the 69 or the 68 metro buses at the metro station. And that bus will take you directly to the Capitola Mall, and then it's just a walk across the street to the Dollar Tree store.
Oh yeah, that's not something we mentioned in the presentation, but everyone who is on campus, your student ID card actually lets you access all of the metro buses for free, which is super useful, especially because most on-campus students don't have cars.
Okay, so to answer Mario's question, just for clarification, does that mean you are in Santa Cruz but not living on campus? Because if that's the case, yes, you can still ride the Metro bus. All you need is your student ID. And then to answer Angela's question about the shuttle is just going to be one of the Metro buses. So on campus, there are a ton of different buses that take you from campus to downtown Santa Cruz area. There's I won't list all of them, but just outside of your like residential area, there's going to be a bus stop. There's a bus stop on either side of the main street. And all of those Metro buses are going to be able to take you into downtown Santa Cruz to the Metro station. And then from there, you have a bunch of different places that you can go.
I know we also didn't mention this in the slides, but one of the really useful things that I used when I first got to campus was Google Maps. A lot of, I know we're not doing on like in classes, but even if you're trying to go to the store or anything, just the Google Maps, and then you stick it onto the buses and it'll tell you which buses to take and wherever you need to go and like the times that the buses are coming.
Also, the Santa Cruz buses are notoriously late, just as a warning.
We got another question about the timeline for possible return for lab instruction. So I assume this question is a little bit more geared towards, a specific type of instruction. At this point, things are really still up in the air. So there's no set dates about when a decision will be made for each potential change to returning to on-campus. What I will say is that those decisions are going to come top down, and they're going to end up being pretty conservative in timeline, meaning that it's going to have to be very, very safe at that point for the university to be approving those types of in-person functions for the academic side of things. So I know that obviously doesn't help in providing anything specific. Full teams of folks working on committees on campus are solely dedicated to making sure that we're able to have a safe return to those kinds of on-campus activities. And as your question specifies, there are certain things that will be safer to return just based on natural social distancing that's potentially possible in labs. So you can imagine it in a sort of a phased transition, and those things will be communicated really clearly once the decisions are finalized. It's not going to be anything too soon in the future, but definitely as soon as those decisions are reached, it'll be communicated with students and those that it specifically applies to first.
Yeah, and I'll add to Angela's question. She said, is it something you can rely on, or is it still better to be on time? There's a lot of different factors that go into the buses. I would recommend being on time most of the time, because the buses, they're just very like unsure. So sometimes they'll be very early, sometimes they'll be right on time, and sometimes they'll be late. And a lot of times the bus stops will be really crowded depending on which bus stop you're at. The Kresge one normally is pretty empty, but if you're at the Porter Rachel Carson one, that one's really full a lot. And the one near the bookstore is really full a lot, so there's going to be a lot of people. So if you get there on time, you have more of a chance of getting into the bus that you want. And a lot of times, if you're going someplace like downtown, they'll have a lot of buses going to that same area. So the 16 and the 20 and another bus will all be going to that area. So if you get there on time and the bus you want is late, there might be another one coming that's going to that same area. So it's better to be on time. But like if you're running late, just you can check on Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever. It'll tell you like the bus is running late or this one is coming at the same time or stuff like that. So yes, I would advise to be on time, but if you're late, probably you'll still get on the bus.
And something to add on about buses, I do recommend just frequently checking the bus schedules because given the current situation with COVID, the timetable for fall quarter, I know it just changed compared to this past summer, and I'm sure it'll be continuously changing into the next quarters. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, to answer your question, Maria, about campus, we are technically open. Is our offices, those that are related like financial aid and the others in business services, we're still working in operations. It's just that we're limiting on people coming onto campus. So not to worry, as far as I know, none of the other offices would be offline given the current situation, but many of our staff members are also working remotely. So I think the best way to connect with anybody would be by email.
Yeah, I would just highlight and reemphasize that most offices are closed on campus, and those that are open are going to have very different hours, potentially very limited. So treating it almost just as if things are exclusively virtual is a much more efficient way. And we're certainly trying to reduce, for those that don't live on campus, the amount of visitors that we're getting on campus just to reduce that population, just so social distancing becomes a lot easier. So campus is super beautiful, and I think if you're interested in coming up and you're in the area, going potentially on campus during less busy times when folks aren't out and about as much, so it's much easier to socially distance, that would certainly be my recommendation.
And if anyone has questions about like being in the sciences or being in different majors, we have a whole host of major classifications as hosts here. So feel free to ask about that too.
I think there's a question regarding the traffic. For me, I don't have a car, but based what I've seen observation on campus, traffic-wise, we haven't been getting too much traffic at all. But in terms of coming into the city, I would say it's relatively moderate. It's not as impacted as it would be before COVID. That's my observation, unless anyone who has driven around Santa Cruz has input.
I was just jumping in case to also answer the side of the question. If by traffic, people traffic, let me clarify. There we go. Yeah, certainly there's been very little car traffic on campus recently. And people traffic, I would say evenings and mornings are best. Since we do have some staff coming onto campus and some students out and about on campus during the middle of the day is when it is a little bit more busy, but either before or after, most of our professional staff are off campus, as well as maintenance folks. And surprisingly, the weekends, having just been up on campus for something this weekend, the weekends are pretty busy with non-affiliate visitors. Lots of cyclists come onto campus on the weekends, hikers, since we have a lot of trails and a lot of ways for folks to enjoy nature. Weekends do tend to be a little busy, so if you have any flexibility during the week, that's actually a little bit of a better time. All right. Well, I know the last few questions have just trickled in. I think with now, if no one else has any urgent questions, we're going to go ahead and end the session. And I just want to extend a huge thanks to our orientation leaders for hosting this and putting this on. Fantastic job. And I hope you're able to share some really important information with our new students. I know this is fine for me and hopefully for the OLs as well. We're happy to stay on the Zoom if anyone has any specific questions you'd like to ask us now that we're ending. But this will be the conclusion of this morning's session, and we hope you have a great start to your week. Thank you all.